This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update video for July 24th, 7 a.m. Here's the HURR track program showing the current position of Tropical Depression Bonnie this morning, barely hanging on, and the system is forecast to head toward Louisiana very quickly. So let's go ahead and put it in motion. You can see what happens here late in the afternoon and evening tonight. The tropical storm force winds approach Plaquemines Parish, and then the system moves onshore late and early in the morning on Sunday and dissipates very quickly while moving inland. Now, this is if the forecast pans out. I believe that this may not even survive between where it is now and southeast Louisiana. It's continuing to be sheared, and there's a very strong steering flow that's ripping this thing apart. I'll get to the details in a minute. The yellow areas indicate tropical storm warnings, Destin, Florida, all the way over to Morgan City, Louisiana. So all these areas are going to experience an uptick in their winds, but not much is going to happen. Probably some gusts of 30, 35 miles an hour. It's going to kick up the winds and seas a little bit. And this will not be that bad for the oil spill. I think this is moving so quickly it's not going to really have a chance to grab much oil and sling it on shore. So it's not a bad situation at all. All right, here's the Hurricane Hunter fixes from a little bit of maybe 30, 35 minutes ago. They dropped the vortex message right here where my mouse pointer is, due west of Tampa. And we have a pressure of 1013 millibars. Surface winds 28 knots, maximum flight level winds 32 knots. Very weak system. In fact, you look around here, 32 knot winds just to the east of the center of circulation. So a very weak system, and it's moving very quickly and weakening as we speak. All right, here's where the system has been. It developed near Long Island, Bahamas. 97L became TD number 3, which then became Tropical Storm Bonnie near Andros Island with 40-mile-per-hour winds. Moved through South Florida. Now, I was down in Miami yesterday to do some live video for HurricaneCity.tv. Had the dash cam going, and we saw some maybe some palm fronds laying around and very high waves. I was down at Hullover Inlet and saw some very large waves smashing in through there, but basically minor damage down in South Florida. Now, Bill was doing the live feed yesterday at HurricaneCity.tv, showing not only the Hurricane City dash cam, but Derek Sibley's cam in Hollywood, and showing the radar. And he mentioned that he had the scanner feed going from Miami, and there was a report of a telephone pole that almost fell down on top of a mobile home, and people were having to be evacuated from the mobile home. So there was some minor damage in South Florida, but really not much to speak of. And I expect the same for Louisiana as it moves in on early Sunday morning. Here are the models on the system. Tightly clustered into southeast Louisiana. That's because we have a strong steering flow from a high pressure ridge in the southeast, and that's definitely steering it into Louisiana. There's going to be not much deviation. If anything, maybe the Canadian model here, the purple, might pan out a little bit because of the strong steering flow. It might come in a little bit further west than what the anticipation is. But overall, the models have been pretty good on this system. The best performing model overall is the DRCL model, and that stands for, that's the Clipper model, the Demaria Radii Clipper model, which is a climate and persistence model. And this model takes it pretty much straightforward right into Plaquemines Parish and right up through New Orleans. This model's only had an error of about 144 miles at 5 days, which outperformed all the other models. So a very, very good model with that DRCL. Normally, the Clipper model is not a very good model, though. All right, here's the wind shear, the current wind shear. Look at it in the Gulf of Mexico here. Not real high, maybe 15 knots or so. 15 to 20 knots where the center of circulation is right now, but that's really the shear from the upper low is almost as important as the steering flow itself, which is disrupting the center of circulation. That's what happened as it moved through South Florida. The steering flow increased and the upper level low was tugging on it, and that stretched it out and did not allow it to build up into the atmosphere and become stronger as it came into South Florida. So the wind shear does have a factor on it, but it is the upper level low and in combination with the steering flow. Here's our current graphical outlook from the National Hurricane Center. No other areas of concern. There is one area right here that this is an upper level low. Here we go again, north of Hispaniola. And that's why this is not forecast to develop. It's too tangled with an upper low. Most of the models do not really do much with it, and they drifted off in this direction towards Central America. African dust continues out near East Africa. We're getting into towards the beginning of the height of the Cape Verde season out here. It starts around August and goes all the way through September. And look at out here, all that dry red area, that's all sinking air out in front of any wave that comes off the coast of Africa. Intertropical convergence, so it's still a little bit too far south, around 10 or so south. You like to see it up around 12 or 13 north up in here for development to occur. And it's just not happening right now. Here's the current weather map from the National Weather Service, and you can see that we have a situation where a strong high pressure is set up at 1023 millibars right here, and that's the strong steering flow that's sending Bonnie into Louisiana. Plus we have another high pressure ridge in the southeast that's reinforcing that, and that's sending it into Louisiana. So there's not going to be much deviation in this course. And again, anything that develops down here is more apt to go into Central America right now because we have a very strong high pressure ridge. Here is that steering flow I was talking about. See that strong high pressure over the southeast? That is what's making the system race to the west-northwest, and that's stretching it out. I believe the steering flow is destroying this more than the upper low is, and that's why this system is just being shredded right now. You got the upper level low, and in combination with the high pressure, it's just stretching the system out. And here we are even lower. That was in the upper layers, and this is a little bit lower in the atmosphere. And this is the 700 millibar level. Around 10,000 feet up steering flow, this is what we have. Very strong. The orange areas indicate this forward speeds around 25 knots steering flow. That's kind of stretching the system out. Here's the wind shear out near Africa. And look at this, 20, 30 knots of shear right off the coast of Africa. Not favorable right now for developments. It's going to be probably another week or so before we can have a chance to see something develop off the coast of Africa. All right, well, that's it for now. Here's the water vapor loop one more time of the Atlantic Basin. Again, this is an upper level low in the southeast Bahamas right now, and that's causing this flare up right here, but that's probably not going to develop due to the upper level low. This system's moving into Mexico, no development, and here's Bonnie moving into southeast Louisiana. Other than that, the tropics are quiet. I'll be back with another update tomorrow on the tropics. Things are pretty quiet out there other than Bonnie, just getting your loose items inside. It shouldn't not be much of a big deal, and we'll be over with this and wait for the next named storm. By the way, back in 2004, we still had not had our first named storm yet up to this date. We have our B named storm. Back in 2005, however, we were up to the 6th or 7th named storm at this time. So it's somewhere in between the 2004 and 5 seasons where we stand right now. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.